Welcome to the Arbitrum ecosystem updates. Today I'm going to go over the last 7 days worth of news happening in the Arbitrum ecosystem. There was of course a lot more than what I'm going to cover today, but I kind of wanted to highlight some of the stuff that stood out to me and some stuff that you guys may want to take a look at as well. Before we get into it, none of this is financial advice. Everything I say is my opinion and just stuff that I'm reporting on. First of all, I wanted to shout out Offchain Labs. Guys, Offchain has been killing it the past couple of days, this week. Essentially, throughout this entire tariff stuff, the only place that you could go in long, short, forex, stocks, commodities, etc., has really been Offchain. There are some different apps out there that may offer maybe kind of a similar experience, but Offchain very clearly does it the best, and you can see by this insane spike of daily users that they saw just a couple of days ago, and even just kind of looking at some of the other announcements they made, they crossed $1 billion in cumulative trading volume roughly 7 days ago, and their Dune dashboard shows the increase in users and increase in volume up and to the right. Daily trade volume cracking about a 1.5 billion. 600 did they just hit 600 users? 600 new users actually as of yesterday, and daily trading fees just skyrocketing over $400,000. Absolutely insane. This team is really, I think, this is probably one of the few teams that's taking an insane amount of advantage from the current situation happening, at the macro scale. Obviously, everything happening with the tariffs and Trump. It's nice to see that a on-chain app is benefiting, of course, in this case, on Arbitrum. So shout outs to the Offchain team. If you do want to try Offchain itself, maybe trade, deposit some funds there, go ahead and give it a go if you want to do anything stock market related but on-chain. And yeah, give it a go. Definitely, it's a great app. Again, not financial advice. Continuing on the RWA stuff, we have an announcement by Wisdom Tree. This was also on April 3rd. They say Wisdom Tree Connect is now live on Arbitrum, so institutions can now mint. It's a basket of 13 different tokenized real-world assets directly on Arbitrum, custody those assets in third-party custodians or their own self-custody wallet, and of course fund transactions via Circle's USDC or Fiat USD through their own stablecoin conversion service. And they're essentially just saying here that with Wisdom Tree Connect, they're bringing traditional finance and meshing it with decentralized finance. Now, the great part about this announcement is that this has just essentially been a slew of RWA announcements that's been happening on Arbitrum recently. As you can see, RWA growth on Arbitrum has been up and to the right as well, alongside that growth of Offchain, which kind of makes sense, both hand in hand. Recently just cracking over $200 million in tokenized assets, including the likes of real estate, EU treasuries, equities, US treasuries, and of course, just the broader equities index. It's pretty wild. And again, you have the likes of Franklin Templeton and BlackRock here too. So it's interesting because more than ever, it's very obvious that us as an industry are taking RWAs much more seriously. And it's nice to see Arbitrum being the home of DeFi, just being a natural kind of secondary home, I guess you could say, to real world assets. I mean, real world assets at the end of the day will be embedded into DeFi, just like AI, I spoke about a little while ago, was also going to be embedded into DeFi. Decentralized finance, frankly, is probably crypto's best use case. So it's natural that all these different things kind of meld into it. And of course, Arbitrum, by proxy, will also, in my opinion, be the home of RWAs as well, all in due time. But frankly, I think I also put out a post on it the other day. I'm not going to go to it now, but Arbitrum, I think, second to Ethereum, has the highest amount of stablecoins with TVL above $1 million. I think it's around 19 different stablecoins with above $1 million in TVL, which is very impressive. Again, it's right behind Ethereum, including other L1s. So, we're getting there. The Arbitrum ecosystem is growing, internationally, I think is probably the key word here. Although this stuff is online, and obviously it's a given that all this stuff can be accessible anywhere, it is really important to know that there is no kind of base region where Arbitrum operates. We'll actually touch on that in a little bit, funny enough, but Arbitrum is very inherently international, and a lot of the teams and the companies and whatnot are, they're coming from all over the world, not just the US, but from, Asia, Europe, etc. But anyways, let's move on. We'll touch on that international stuff actually in a second. That is kind of related, but not really. But before we get into that, let's talk about memes a little bit, huh? You got a post here from the guys at Goo Trade. They're essentially introducing something called Goo Guilds, meme funds for the degenerate vanguard. Now, I'm going to skip some of this and go into some of the use cases that they have for this new Goo Guilds product that they're launching. So essentially, Goo Guilds are malleable by design. You can use them to raise funds to kickstart a meme campaign, build a token that tracks the performance of a real-world asset, or like a stock basket using Ostium or Berry, for example. You can launch a community DAO where contributions are vested before tokens are claimed. You could also coordinate a multi-sig controlled media fund with transparent backing. It could be a slew of things, right? What they say here, and I kind of actually love the way they describe it, it's not just a launch pad, it's a coordination layer for degens, creators, and capital. If you aren't familiar with GooTrade, they initially launched as just like a meme factory, but now they're kind of making this update that I think does meld a lot better with the Arbitrum ecosystem. Of course, with collaboration going on with Camelot. Now, if you do want to take part in this, if you want to be part of maybe their launch, since this is just an announcement, they haven't actually launched this quite yet, make sure to message XWICD, or if you want to DM the GooTrade account themselves, go ahead and do that too. I'm very excited for this because I think the reason why maybe we haven't seen memes do necessarily as well on Arbitrum as different places is because like over time it feels like Arbitrum has like the ecosystem I should say, like the builders, the ecosystem team, etc. It feels like it's gotten a lot more sophisticated. Now, for better or for worse, right? I mean, while there is a lot of experimentation happening and there is a lot of people and businesses building out like long-term products that they want to ideally scale out to the entire world, not just our CT bubble. I do think that the degens kind of feel a little bit left out. And it's weird because Arbitrum kind of first launched with that degen kind of nature, really integrated into the culture. So I am looking forward to GooTrade kind of helping bring back a lot of that degeneracy, but in a way that melds very well with the Arbitrum community specifically. That's the way I think we move the needle, not just kind of copying and pasting what's on different chains onto Arbitrum and seeing if it works. At the end of the day, you can do that on any chain and cross your fingers and hope for the best. But I do think doing things that are chain specific and ecosystem specific is really the best way to go here. So very excited to see Google's launch. I guess probably within the next couple of weeks, months. Next, we're going to give a huge shout out to the Huddle team. They just announced their Huddle Testnet Act 2. It's essentially a testnet where it's like a gamified testnet. You can go on, you can do some quests, you can get on a leaderboard, you can collect tokens that will essentially translate to real tokens once they actually TGE on their mainnet Arbitrum chain. Now, if you also don't know, Huddle is actually a video kind of streaming service too. So you can actually do Google like Meets, kind of Zoom-esque types of calls with Huddle. And you can also live stream on it too. I actually literally just got off a live stream with Arbitrum and the Huddle guys, literally talking about their product and the testnet about an hour or two ago. Definitely go ahead and check that out if you're interested in just partaking in their testnet stuff. This is going to go on for a couple of months, I think they said, but definitely worth getting in on it early just to give it a go and maybe take part in this kind of decentralized, or DePIN, I should say, evolution that's going to happen on Arbitrum, I think, relatively shortly. There's a lot of DePIN teams coming to Arbitrum, and definitely want to see how we can maybe shine a much bigger spotlight on them as time goes on, since it's a very natural fit given the low latency, high bandwidth environment that Arbitrum chains give these teams. Next, we have an announcement by Mawari. This was also about 7 days ago. They say Mawari is calling Arbitrum home. Soon our L2/L3 will be on Arbitrum orbit. This gets us one step closer to truly transformative experiences, empowering meaningful productivity, groundbreaking entertainment, and deeply connected virtual interactions. This is also another one of those DePIN projects for spatial computing in particular. I'm not gonna lie to you, this one definitely throws me for a loop. I'm not even gonna try to explain in detail how they plan on integrating this, but like I said, I think DePIN is going to be very, very big on Arbitrum. So seeing more teams choosing Arbitrum orbit, Arbitrum, essentially developing their own Arbitrum chain for their stack is definitely something that I want to keep on highlighting as time goes on. So definitely expect more DePIN related announcements coming from videos like these. I want to give a little shout out to Gitcoin. Gitcoin Grants Round 23 is live and it's running on Arbitrum exclusively. We're doubling down on a proven partnership. The Arbitrum network shares Gitcoin's vision for scaling Ethereum infra and funding open source software that drives ecosystem growth. And they go into like a little detail on why they chose Arbitrum and whatnot. It's kind of wild to see Gitcoin on Arbitrum, by the way. I've said this before, but it's like, given that this started off as like an optimism kind of thing way back when OP was more about retroactive public goods funding, it's very weird to see it now on Arbitrum. But I love it, obviously, right? I mean, Arbitrum should be for anything, as long as it's on chain, you can use Arbitrum. Is the idea, right? There's a solution for you to use any stack, any part of the Arbitrum stack for whatever you're building, and to see Gitcoin doing it is also great. Make sure you check out the projects that are running on them as well. Special shout out to Chaincraft. They're also there too. If you want to donate a couple of shekels, go ahead and do that. Do it to any team that you think is worth it, but consider Chaincraft as well. I like those guys. They're really good people. I have no horse in the race, by the way. On to general Arbitrum stuff. The Arbitrum DAO just turned 2 years old. Yes, in 2023, essentially around the same time, the Arbitrum DAO was formed. It's insane. They actually just announced a free mint here. Go ahead and click on this link to take a look at Magic Eden, where you can actually go ahead and mint it for free. But it's a really cool graphic, as you can see here. It just ends up having a ton of different ecosystem characters, including like the stylus logo. You have the Arbitrum one over here, Blackbird, Renegade, Entropy, Ape Chain. What is this? GMX. I'm trying to see if I can find all of them. You have Edu Chain over here, the Graph, Gravity. Oh, is that Clutch right there? Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff here. Definitely make sure to mint this. I already minted one myself, so I'm vindicated there. But yes, it is free. It's on Magic Eden, and make sure to show your support, man. Arbitrum DAO turned 2. That's insane. It's absolutely wild. And I don't know if this is the last thing. This might be one of the last things. RB Link is happening in Hong Kong. It already happened actually, April 7th, 3 days ago. And this was actually a very, very big event that the Arbitrum Foundation is starting to host, not only in Hong Kong, but in multiple regions. I don't think they've announced anything yet in terms of where they're going next, but this was the first one, and it was this huge event that lasted, I think, roughly 2 to 3 days. So the first one was mainly just to connect with builders. There was workshops with different teams from Offchain Labs, Open, ApeCoin, and Alloy. They also had the hackathon. I think this is what this one was. All builders are welcome to join a 2-day event with a 1v1 mentorship, builder sessions, and technical workshops. And I said the word hackathon, but I think what this is kind of mainly for is really building up, founder-based mindshare for the Arbitrum community globally. That's one thing that I think that has been missing from the community for quite some time, and that I think the Arbitrum Foundation is really trying to pick up on very quickly. As you can see, they just did this one in Hong Kong, and I do expect them to do a lot more of these globally. So definitely keep an eye out for that. I'll report on them as I see them coming, hopefully beforehand this time, even though I don't think a lot of my audience lives in Hong Kong. But nonetheless, very important stuff. Building Arbitrum founder kind of leadership mindshare globally around the world is definitely going to be a very, very key thing in growing Arbitrum as a brand, just in general. So I'm really happy to see the foundation doing this. And then as you can see, this is just like literally a picture from one of the workshops here. You got a full house hanging out over here. People doing you got a little, little hackathon, little builder sessions going on. I really wish I was there, but it's a long way from New York, and I think that's it. We're gonna end it off there. I think we're at 10 minutes anyways. 13 minutes, Jesus. Thank you guys for watching as usual. Like I said, I'll try to do these things every once in a while. Maybe every week or every 2 weeks, most likely. Just depends on how much time I have. But nonetheless, very excited to be building on Arbitrum with you guys. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out. And again, none of this is financial advice.